All right, let's jump right in. You know that old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression? Well, it's so true. And the crazy part? That impression, it's formed in like a few seconds, way before you've even said anything important. So today, we're going to decode that silent language, the language of first contact.
So, I've got a question for you, and I want you to really think about it. What does your handshake say about you? I mean, it seems like such a simple, everyday thing, right? But psychologically, wow, it is just packed with meaning. It's basically your opening line before you've even spoken a word.
And that's because every single handshake is a signal. Seriously, it's like this secret, unspoken conversation happening right there in your palm. It's broadcasting all this information about you, your confidence, what you're about, how you're feeling in that one split second.
Okay, and check this out. This is what's so fascinating. Our source material doesn't just call it a greeting. No. It calls a handshake a significant marker of a person's internal state. I mean, think about that. It's like we're all walking around collecting this little piece of psychological data on each other, and we don't even realize we're doing it.
All right, so let's break this down. Let's start with the most obvious part of this whole silent conversation, your grip, right? The pressure you use, that's probably the very first thing the other person is going to notice.
So on one end, you've got the strong grip. And look, we're not talking about a bone crusher here, okay? Nobody likes that. We're talking about a firm, solid, confident connection. And psychologically, this is pretty much always linked with confidence, right? With being an extrovert. It just sends this message that says, hey, I'm here, I'm present, I'm self-assured. Then you have the other side of the coin, the weak grip. Now, this can mean a few different things, but a lot of the time it's seen as a sign of shyness or maybe a lack of self-assurance. And that's really the key here, isn't it? The contrast. One grip screams confidence, and the other can whisper uncertainty, even if that's not what you mean to say at all.
But you know, a handshake isn't just about the hand. It doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? There's this whole other conversation going on at the exact same time, and it's happening with your eyes. What you're doing with your gaze is honestly just as important as what you're doing with your grip. In fact, get this, the source material calls eye contact a primary metric. A primary metric. Just let that sink in. It's one of the main ways we size someone up when we first meet them. It's absolutely fundamental to building that initial trust, that first little bit of rapport.
So what are we looking for? Well, if you hold steady, comfortable eye contact, that usually signals honesty, genuine interest. It basically says, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm engaged. But on the flip side, if you're avoiding eye contact, that can come across as social anxiety, or maybe even that you're not being totally upfront. It's a really powerful signal, and it's super nuanced.
And this is where it all comes together so perfectly. You've got your grip, you've got your gaze, and boom, they combine to create your silent introduction. It's the mix of that physical touch and that visual connection that really builds the foundation for that entire first impression.
So, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one simple but really powerful idea. Your handshake is a conversation without words. It's like a mini autobiography you share in a single moment. It tells a whole story about who you are, how confident you are, and how engaged you are.
So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. Now that you know that your hand and your eyes are doing all the talking for you before you even say hello, the next time you meet someone new, what are you going to say?